The Russian Revolution of 1917 ended the autocratic rule of Tsar Nicholas II, leading to the rise of the Bolsheviks under Vladimir Lenin. In the October Revolution, the Bolsheviks seized power, promoting a vision of a socialist state. After a brutal civil war between the Bolsheviks' Red Army and anti-Bolshevik forces, the White Army, the USSR was officially founded in 1922. Lenin introduced the new economic policy, allowing limited private enterprise to recover from the war's devastation. Despite this, political repression was widespread, with the Bolsheviks consolidating a one-party state. After Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin emerged as the dominant leader, sidelining rivals like Trotsky. Stalin's policies transformed the Soviet Union through rapid industrialization under the five-year plans focused on heavy industry. He also implemented forced collectivization of agriculture, targeting wealthier peasants, the kulaks, and consolidating farms into state-run collectives. This policy led to massive famine, particularly in Ukraine, where millions died in the Holodomor. Stalin's rule was also characterized by political purges. The Great Purge saw millions of Soviet citizens imprisoned, exiled, or executed, including party members, military leaders, and intellectuals. The Gulag labor camps became infamous for their harsh conditions and forced labor. Stalin's reign of terror established his absolute control, but at a tremendous human cost. In 1939, Stalin signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact with Nazi Germany, which included secret protocols dividing Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. However, in June 1941, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. The USSR suffered enormous losses, but the tide turned with the Battle of Stalingrad, where Soviet forces inflicted a crushing defeat on the Germans. The war effort saw the Soviet Union emerge as a global superpower. By 1945, the Red Army had captured Berlin, playing a crucial role in Nazi Germany's defeat. The USSR's human losses were staggering, with over 20 million deaths, but its military victories greatly enhanced Soviet prestige. After World War II, Stalin extended Soviet influence over Eastern Europe, establishing communist regimes that became the Eastern Bloc. This set the stage for the Cold War with the United States, as the USSR sought to spread communism globally. Stalin's death in 1953 led to a brief power struggle from which Nikita Khrushchev emerged as the new leader. In his 1956 secret speech, Khrushchev denounced Stalin's purges, initiating a policy of de-Stalinization. He relaxed censorship, allowed more cultural freedom, and eased repression. Khrushchev's era saw major achievements, such as the launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957, the first artificial satellite, and Yuri Gagarin's spaceflight in 1961, making him the first human in space. However, Cold War tensions persisted. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, when the USSR placed nuclear missiles in Cuba. The crisis ended with both superpowers agreeing to de-escalate, but Khrushchev's perceived failures led to his ousting in 1964, replaced by Leonid Brezhnev. Brezhnev's leadership was marked by political stability, but also economic stagnation. Under his rule, the Soviet Union pursued a more conservative domestic policy, and while living standards improved marginally, the economy began to stagnate, hampered by inefficiency and corruption. Despite heavy investment in military and space programs, the Soviet economy struggled to keep up with the West. Internationally, Brezhnev oversaw a policy of détente with the United States in the 1970s, temporarily easing Cold War tensions. However, the USSR's 1979 invasion of Afghanistan to support a communist government became a long, costly conflict, draining resources and morale. When Mikhail Gorbachev assumed leadership in 1985, he sought to reform the ailing Soviet system through perestroika, or economic restructuring, and glasnost, meaning political openness. While these reforms were intended to revitalize the USSR, they instead exposed deep flaws, leading to increasing dissent, economic chaos, and demands for greater autonomy among Soviet republics. In 1989, communist regimes in Eastern Europe collapsed, symbolized by the fall of the Berlin Wall. Gorbachev's refusal to use force in these nations marked the beginning of the end for Soviet dominance. In 1991, nationalist movements within the USSR, combined with an attempted coup by hardline communists, led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. By December 26, 1991, the USSR was officially dissolved and 15 independent republics, including Russia, emerged from its former territory.